Hello there,
Hi.
and welcome to a new year. It's the 7th of January 2026. So, Happy New Year to all of you listeners or viewers out there. This
Happy
is,
New Year.
this is the Cybersecurity Agony Uncles, and I am Uncle Rich,
I'm Uncle Ross.
and today we've got a good one for you. So, we do have a question that's came in over Christmas, and it says this. My company just renewed our cyber insurance, and to get the premium we wanted, our COO exaggerated our MFA implementation across the board. Now I'm the one who has to sign off the technical validation. Do I blow the whistle and lose us the insurance, or sign and pray we never have a claim?
Oh, that's sticky.
Isn't it just?
I mean, there's only one right answer to this, isn't there?
Go on then, let's hear it.
The right answer, the moral answer is yes, you blow the whistle because otherwise you're committing fraud. What the actual legal outlook on that is, I don't know. But there's many more pragmatic answers than that. It's just that feels like it's probably the answer that morality dictates, put it that way. Although we're talking about insurance, so there's no morality involved anyway.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, let's be honest, they're not likely to want to pay out anyway. But no, it's true. I mean, what will happen is, or what I think would happen is, in the event of an incident that where MFA was, or the lack of MFA was a contributing factor, and it had to go to the ICO would do an investigation.
Yeah.
So this would all your lies or your boss's lies would all quickly unravel when the investigation revealed that you didn't have MFA in place.
Mm-hmm.
Your cyber liability insurer will want to know exactly what steps you took in terms of incident response. If you notified the ICO, they're very likely going to, your insurer will very likely know that because they'll probably ask you the question, and they will ask to see evidence of what the ICO have said. So then your lies unravel and your insurance doesn't pay out.
Yeah.
Either way, your lies are unraveling and you're not getting paid out. Whatever happens, you're screwed.
Absolutely.
Okay. And that's the problem with lying and the problem with fraud.
Yeah. I guess from a legal,
when you get caught, people say had it been an honest mistake.
Yeah, totally. I guess from like a legal liabilities point of view, it would probably be his boss's name over the door, so he's probably safe from that.
Now, of course, we're not in the States, we're in the UK. In the States, there have been cases where a CISO has been sent to prison, effectively.
As an individual, he's been held liable, or they've been held liable, yeah.
Yeah, I can't quite remember, but Uber, maybe?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that, yeah, that happened. I'd have to Google it, which I'm not going to do in the middle of a podcast, obviously. So, Solar Winds, is it called? The monitoring?
Yeah.
I think the same happened to their CISO, potentially.
I feel like he didn't get prison time in the end, but yes, he certainly got dragged through the courts, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if the same level of liability at a personal level exists. Maybe it does if you're a registered director. I don't know.
It probably does depend whether you're someone with significant control in the eyes of the law.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we all say that risks sit with the board in terms of accountability.
Yeah.
So in theory, if you're not on the board, you should be pretty safe. But it doesn't mean you're not going to lose your job.
No. Or that the company's going to go bust and that's going to cause you problems or any number of other things. I think my attitude would be to make sure that my boss was aware of what the risks were.
Well, I was going to say the same thing, but I was going to come at it from a slightly different angle. I was going to say covering your ass protocols should kick in at this point.
Yeah. I'd like it written down.
Yeah. Write it down, escalate it to the powers that be.
Yeah.
Make sure you got a copy sent to your personal email.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And brace yourself.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I nearly swore quite badly there. But in the meantime, fucking well fix it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, if you are resolved to not whistleblow, but make sure that your boss is aware of what the risks are and he has taken them on or they have taken them on, then my next step would be absolutely bloody making sure that we had a good plan and a timeline of when we were going to finish implementation of the thing that we said we've already got.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you need to work this from multiple angles. You can cover your ass quite nicely via email and documentation and still lose your job.
Yeah.
You don't come out of it a winner. In my experience, if you go up against the CEO, and I've lost jobs in the past due to exactly this sort of thing, actually. If you have a complete argument with the CEO about this, you will lose and you will lose your job. Doesn't matter how much you've covered your ass.
No.
So the best thing to do, if you like gainful employment, if you enjoy paying your mortgage every month, would be to cover your ass and fix it.
Yeah.
So cover your ass, but also include the plan to fix it.
Yeah.
And if you need extra support, extra resource, extra cash, to buy a new shiny tool, because obviously people in cybersecurity love shiny new tools, then
apparently
get it.
Yeah.
Make it clear, get it done. I mean,
Yeah.
for something as trivial as I say trivial, but important, for something like turning on MFA across the board, shouldn't cost you a bean. You should already have it.
Yeah. I can't imagine there are that many platforms which don't allow you to enable MFA still. I mean, that said, I do know of some, mostly open source projects that don't have MFA out of the box. But you should have something that you can hook up in terms of like a single sign-on IDP provider, which can offer you MFA to the provider to then authenticate against whatever tool it is and leave that as the only entry point. So some of it, there might be a bit of engineering involved in terms of making it happen, depending on your services in use.
Yeah, and if you've got something that doesn't have MFA or federation to another authenticator built in, then stick it behind something that has.
Yes, at the very least, have it VPN'd off or something like that.
Yeah, try and take some reasonable steps, to think laterally if you need to and get this sorted. But we've I'm going to blame you, Ross. We've gone off on a tangent. I know.
Surely not.
I know it was my fault, but
we've never done that before.
No, it's never happened on this podcast ever. So coming back to it, the core question around ethics and morality is really what we should be talking about, because we know this stuff can be fixed. We've covered the covering your ass and things like that. But my opinion is, if you are working in cybersecurity, and I've spent the last 28 years now, I'm getting old, working in both fields. So I've had a foot in each camp. And what I can tell you is, if you are working in cybersecurity, your ethics and morals need to be completely unimpeachable, totally squeaky clean, because you're fighting the bad guys.
There's no thin end of the wedge in cybersecurity.
No, there really isn't. I mean, do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, you really can't be making exceptions and exclusions for things when you're in a position of looking after cybersecurity, because, as you say, you're trying to be the white hat person in the room, and anything else is politics.
That is true, and the mechanisms that you have for getting fined as a business, like from the ICO, are supposed to make sure that you do the right thing, but you have to have the courage, the skill, all of the above, to actually do the right thing. And that comes from your morals and ethics.
Absolutely. I have left employment before, primarily on the basis of a senior figure trying to make me do something which I deemed to be reprehensible in terms of cybersecurity. So you do have to, I think at some point it's a worthwhile conversation having with yourself. Can I do this? Am I morally okay with doing it? But I mean, the other thing to look at, which we haven't really looked at, is splitting the middle and saying, well, that's not the situation we're in. Could you negotiate a bit like you do sometimes with certifications, where you have a non-conformity, but
Yep.
the certifying body is okay with it so long as you have a provable plan and are audited to fix that non-conformity.
That would work with the ICO, I think.
Yes, would it work with a cyber liabilities insurer? I don't know, but has anybody had the conversation? Because it seems like a worthwhile one to have.
I don't know. I think, and I've only had limited dealings with cyber liability insurers, but I believe that if you're upfront with them during the quotation process before you sign on the dotted line for your insurance,
Mm-hmm.
I think if you say we're at this level of maturity, because they do ask, there's a lot of cybersecurity questionnaires and things around this. If you are honest and say we're on a path to compliance with our requirement for MFA, for instance, and we have a plan and it'll be done in 6 months' time, they'll hike up your premium and generally, I believe, accept the risk. And if that's the case, then you're fine.
Yeah, and
But
then
if,
say at
but
this
if you
stage,
lie to them,
yeah,
then you're in trouble.
yeah, and you'd have to be pretty line in the sand about it and say we'll be ready for audit at this date, and we'd like to renegotiate our premium at this point, or whatever. Like when you're talking about big insurance policies, it's not filling out go compare forms and hitting go.
No,
There
I wish
is,
it was.
yeah, that there is somebody sitting there making the call. Sure, they've got a matrix of compliance stuff that they have to do to make sure that the policy can get through, but none of it is non-negotiable, I don't think, really. So I would definitely be putting pressure on my boss in that situation to say, have we tried to negotiate this, and put a plan in rather than just outright lying. As you say, outright lying versus having a difficult conversation. I'd always rather have the difficult conversation. That's basically what we do in cyber, isn't it? It's difficult conversations.
Yeah, it really is. And the cyber liability insurer actually wants to sell you the policy. They
Absolutely.
they want to make money and they don't want to pay out a claim.
No.
So they want to sell you a policy knowing that you have a decent baseline level of security in place. But because they want to sell you the policy, that means they want to talk to you.
Yeah.
They want to get to know you.
Yeah.
So do it.
Yeah. I think that's definitely my order of precedence for how I'd approach it. I'd approach it first with my boss and say, is this really non-negotiable? Then I'd do arse covering and personal liability cover in terms of making sure that things are written down, as well as having a plan of action. And if neither of those things are possible, then I'd seriously consider whether or not I was happy to stay in that situation. It's that there are certain things in life, I think, that you have to make a moral call over, or you don't, and you become an insurance salesman. But there are certain things that I think are worth dying on the hill for, and something like that might be one of mine. Be even worse if it involved, depending on what the business does. I've worked in security functions for medical providers before, and I wouldn't. There's nothing that I would accept as slightly dodgy in that scenario.
Oh, absolutely. There's too much at stake, too much riding on that.
Way too much at stake. Even if you take away the kind of like legal stuff, like, do you really want to have that on your conscience?
God, no.
Yeah, exactly. I guess some people don't care, but it would affect my ability to feel happy with myself.
Yeah. The other thing to bear in mind is that courtesy of LinkedIn and the, I don't know, B-side circuit, like the talks and conferences and event circuit, just about everybody, because it is still quite a small industry, certainly in the UK, it's very well networked.
Yeah.
People do have a reputation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, because I'm massively antisocial, but but there's a lot of people that know a lot of people. Okay.
Yeah.
And you don't want to have the reputation that says you cut corners, or you're not diligent, or worse, you're not honest or ethical. Because you will bump into these people at other, if you go to change jobs or whatever, you could wreck your own career quite easily.
Yeah, absolutely. It happens less in engineering, but there is still an element of that. I've knocked around with people who perform less than adequately in one way or another, and normally to do with morals and engineering. And I would never suggest to a future employer that we look at interviewing them, for example. So even on a micro scale, it can have fairly big ramifications for your career. So yeah, there are certain. Everyone's got their own personal lines to draw, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And you just have to draw them in the right place, essentially, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Trying to think what other, is there any other angle I haven't looked at this from? I mean, there's one angle which just says, oh, it's just bloody insurance and it's just a company. Who cares? But I think that that's a bit of a short-sighted one.
Yeah, I think so, because breaches do happen. I mean, most cybersecurity incidents are actually from insiders just not being malicious, but just cocking something up.
Yeah.
Sending a spreadsheet of all customer data to a single customer, for instance, where they've dumped it out of a database and are trying to query it to make a pretty little spreadsheet, or to send a report. You know, that happens. People attaching the wrong things to an email. You know, all of that sort of stuff. I mean, you know, and of course, there's a whole phishing side of it, clicking a malicious link, but most of it isn't on purpose.
No.
When it comes to incidents, a lot of it purely requires minimal cybersecurity input and is mostly for a data protection officer to deal with when it's that sort of stuff. But even if you're involved in things in a small scale, you should definitely always try to do the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm trying to find the question again just to make sure that we've covered everything off. But I think we have.
Well, they're talking about blowing the whistle.
Yeah.
And that would cost them their insurance coverage. So they're also the one that has to sign off on the technical validation.
Yeah, so they are actually putting their name against something.
They are. And if that's the case, I wouldn't.
No.
I would dig my heels in and say, I can't. A board member must sign this off instead of me.
Yeah. So it's their COO is doing it as well. I mean, I guess depending on what sort of waves you wanted to make, the other thing you could do is talk to the rest of the board.
Yeah, that's true. It kind of, you could almost drop into an HR process with it. Not necessarily a grievance, although that might be an appropriate channel. But if you're that senior that you're dealing with cyber liability insurance and things like that, for a start, you better be senior. If you're a junior dealing with this, then, oh my God, your organisation has bigger problems.
Yeah.
But if you're senior enough to be dealing with that, you've probably got access to other people on the board. CFOs are normally quite good.
Yep.
For regulatory stuff, because they're used to signing contracts and things like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely, you could approach a CFO if you're not getting what you need from a COO. But I think highlighting the risk, trying to get it on a risk register is probably a good move, because the whole board should be seeing that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I assume because the COO is dealing with this that they probably don't have a CISO.
Yeah, probably not. But sometimes CISOs only get involved in this sort of in a marginal way, because quite often it's a sort of thing they pass down to somebody else to deal with.
Yeah.
So the CFO goes, we've got this cyber liability insurance renewal coming up. They've notified me because we pay the bills.
Yeah.
It passes it to the CISO, and the CISO passes it down a level and says, right, deal with this, thinking it's going to just get done.
Yeah.
But only if there's that feedback loop where the person who's dealing with this passes back up and says, look, our MFA implementation isn't very good. That's only when the CISO might get wind of any trouble. Now, you hope that they pick it up then and deal with it. But don't forget, CISOs often aren't on the board either.
No, which is another big problem that we could talk about for hours.
Absolutely. I mean, often they report into IT when really their job is quality assurance for IT and other areas of the business.
Yeah. Yeah.
So quite often they're in the wrong spot to actually even deal with this.
Yeah.
It's like a C-level job title without the C-level, authority.
Yeah.
And autonomy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that trying to, one way or another, trying to get the rest of the board to understand what's going on, if there are no other options, would be a backstop that I would avail myself of. But then some people wouldn't be comfortable dealing with that, I guess.
No, it does take a certain level of bravery, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, because I guess if you push too hard, the alternative is that you just get shown the door. But again, that might be worth it to you, depending on how your personal morals allow you to behave.
Well, this is it. It's one thing for us just to be chatting about this on a podcast and take the most idealistic view of what you should and shouldn't do. But in the real world, when you've got, I don't know, family, kids to provide for, mortgage to pay, that sort of thing, it can murky the waters somewhat, muddy the waters somewhat. So, I think the answer is, if you're in that sort of situation, it wouldn't be unreasonable to take the decision that I'm being forced to go along with this, but I need to leave gracefully. So I'll swallow my pride, sign it off, and then look to find another role or look to make changes from within.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be ideal, but at least you'd have still done the whole cover your ass piece and highlighted the risk.
Yeah, I guess it's worth expanding on that cover your ass piece as well. Something that I would want to make sure that I did in any case is have everything super well documented in terms of what security controls I have got, especially in lieu of MFA. If I've got something that doesn't have MFA implemented on it, I'd want to have a really well recorded document of what security controls I am using. That it's not simply a password, and there's something else there that you could point to and say, well, we've mitigated that. We should probably just let the insurance company know that we've mitigated this in a different way.
If you can apply, I don't know, IP restrictions or something.
Yeah.
Some anything else like that helps the situation at least.
Yeah.
That's if you can't implement your MFA fully. As you say, there's no true replacement for it, but you can help mitigate some of the risk.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when we're talking about this is mostly going to be to do with public-facing services, isn't it?
I'd have thought so, yeah. I mean, we're not given the full context in the question.
No. But especially, when you're talking about that, it's like you said, there's kind of... I kind of break cyber up into 3 areas in my head, I guess, subconsciously. So there's like a compliance bit, which is with certification, data protection, etc. There's a how we look to the world bit in terms of security controls. So external people coming in, and then there's the internal threat and mitigating that. And I think this is probably solely going to be with how we look to the outside world, because if it's an internal threat you're worried about, MFA is not really a control that's going to help with that.
No.
Outside of maybe phishing, I guess, but that kind of bridges those two worlds, which is tricky. But
that might be why it's tricky.
That could be. Yeah. Yes, because that is tough. Man in the middle MFA stuff does occur. And I guess it's probably quite popular in the phishing crowd to present a web page that looks like the MFA page for real service, but actually is just a middleman so that they can use the MFA code on your behalf.
I really need to do some reading on the algorithms that generate these codes, because obviously they must be universal because there's different authenticator apps.
Yes.
And it's not hard to envisage that a malicious actor would actually find out what those algorithms are and create a fake MFA page, knowing that it will match the real thing.
Yeah, I think all of that is properly open source, so you could definitely. I mean, the alternative is, I guess, as a hacker, you would just respond positively, whatever.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and then just reuse the code
and just hope that whomever had put it in right.
Well, yeah, that's a massive shortcut and saves the hacker a lot of coding, actually.
Yeah, I think that would be the way to go if I was doing it.
Yeah,
well, I like thinking black hat. It's fun. Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting. Doesn't help this person, mind you.
We've done that thing again. Sorry.
Yeah, I love a good tangent.
Yeah, it's where all the interesting stuff is.
So, I think we've actually answered the question.
I think
in a roundabout sort of way.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I can add anything else to that.
No, and a lot of it is to do with this person's particular view, isn't it? And where their lines in the sand are, etc.
Yeah, I mean, I have worked with people that have 0 lines and 0 sand.
Yes.
and they will do anything anything they're told, like a good little worker bee,
Yeah.
just because there's a steady paycheck in it.
But the fact that this person's asking this question suggests that they do have some moral imperative.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully they can cover their ass. They can affect change.
Yeah.
And maybe they've got enough influence to actually go back to the cyber insurance company and be honest. Maybe they've got enough clout within their business to actually get approval to actually be honest.
Yeah.
Cyber insurance company. We don't know, but what I can say is that, yeah, if you're working in cybersecurity, you've got to be doing the right thing for the right reasons.
I think so. And yeah, we've kind of discussed all of the potential avenues. I think the only way I'd be happy is if I'd exhausted all of those.
Yeah, agreed.
So assuming they haven't done that, hopefully that's given them something to think about.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, to the anonymous poster who sent that question in, thank you, and I hope that was helpful. And I think we're going to wrap up 4 minutes early.
Yeah, that doesn't happen often, but there you go.
No, it doesn't. Thank you ever so much for listening. We'll be back next month. Not sure who will be on this podcast. It might be Ross, it might be Stephen. Either way, you're going to have a pair of uncles, maybe an aunt, and we hope you come back for the next one.